Be strong.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of American Eye. Finally, the air cleared up and I can finally see the sky. The past week, the past 10 days, it has been so smoky, really, I couldn't even go outside. So today, with some more light, I took advantage to record another video. And today we will talk about other 5 differences between United States and Italy, and more in particular about other 5 things that Americans shouldn't expect or shouldn't do in Italy. But as always, before starting the video, please subscribe to the channel, put a like to the video if you like it, and comment and share with your friends, and let me know in the comment section down below if you have the same experiences that I have, or if you have other ideas about it. Maybe you went to Italy and you didn't live the same things that I'm telling you. And maybe some things that I said are not very common in the place in Italy that you visited, or simply your experience was a little different from what I said. I always say that I am talking about things in general, okay? And of course each person is different. But this is what I see, this is what I personally see, and this is what I personally suggest to people not to do in Italy because of different culture and different traditions. So the first thing that you should not do in Italy, if you are visiting or if you're living there, is starting having dinner or eating in general at a table with other people without waiting for other people to be served. So in Italy, it's very common, it's very polite to wait for everybody to have their own meal, their own food in the plate, and then starting eating at the same time. Now, this doesn't happen in America either when you are, for example, at somebody else's place. For example, somebody invites you over for dinner, and usually dinner is served at the same time. But imagine the situation in a restaurant where maybe you ordered a steak and you ordered fish and somebody else ordered a pizza or whatever. This place, these dishes, this kind of food comes out in a different time, okay? Maybe steak first and then pizza and then fish, because they're different cooking times. What I noticed is that in the United States, when you have food, you start eat. Usually in a restaurant you start eat. In Italy, you should not do that. You have to wait for everybody to have the food in their plates. Unless, of course, everybody else is telling you, please eat, otherwise it's gonna get cold. At that moment, usually you start eating. But what I noticed here is that Americans generally, again, I'm talking about in general, I'm talking about, say, the 80% of people that I know here, or in general the experience that I have here, they don't wait. And they don't do it because they're impolite. They just do it because you have food, you eat. And I think it's kind of normal. I think I like the American way better. I have food, I start eat. That doesn't mean that I don't care about you, that I stop talking to you. But many times it happened that, for example, I was a little late at a restaurant meeting, for example, a restaurant dinner, and the people who arrived first or were already eating when I arrived. They already ordered, and well, then you sit down and you order whatever you want, and the waiter is gonna serve you whatever you want with no problem at all. So in Italy, this doesn't really happen. Usually you wait for everybody to be seated and then you order all together. So in a certain way, it's also less work for the waiter. And then you eat all together when the food comes out. So I've been a waiter for many years when I was living and paying for my studies back in Italy. And I also know that kitchens in general, restaurants' kitchen, tend and try to get the food for the table all together out, okay, in Italy. In America, that doesn't happen very much. It depends on the cooking times. But yes, in general, in Italy, they'll start eating before everybody else is served, okay? Unless they tell you to start eating. Another thing that you should not do in Italy is not to say hi when you come in a place or come in a store or whatever. So the thing that you should not do is to not say hi. So what you should do actually is to say hi. Say, for example, that you're going to buy some bread. In Italy are very common these kind of stores, like where you where you buy bread or pizza in one store, and then you buy milk in another store, and then you buy something else in another store, and then you buy clothes in another store. Italy is an old country. It's not like America. America has this supermarket, hypermarket, like say Walmart or Costco or Albertsons, Walgreens or whatever. They sell all together. So you go to Walmart and you can buy milk there, you can buy bread, you can buy meat, you can buy fish, you can do whatever you want there. And being a supermarket, you don't really need to say hi at the entrance, okay? You just enter and you get in, okay? In Italy, all these stores are really little, really small, and they're usually family owned, okay? So you go in the street and you stop at the bakery, you stop at the fish store, you stop at the fruit store, okay? And all these stores, especially in Italian little towns or little cities, are family owned, okay? So usually it's just one small room, and it's very common for Italian, as maybe it's mandatory for Italian, if you want to be polite, to get in the store or in the place and say hi. Now, even if there is nobody, you still say good morning, buongiorno, or good evening, buonasera. Why? Even if there is nobody? Yes, even if there is nobody, because it's like saying, hey, there's somebody here, okay? Here I am, okay? And I salute you. I say hi. So in America that doesn't happen, but not because they're impolite, but just because they don't have this kind of stores. Even though I noticed that even when you get in a restaurant or in a very small bar, in a cafe, or in, say, like the DMV, okay? When you get in, I usually say, good morning, everybody, okay? People don't. And people look at me like, why are you saying hi to me? Why are you greeting me? Or I don't know you, okay? Well, this is always along the line that Americans usually care about the fact that if they know the person or not. Okay, so if they have to be formal or if they can be informal. Whereas in Italy, it's not a matter of politeness. It's just a matter of, I think, cultural tradition. Usually Italians say hi when they step in a store, in a place or whatever. So if you don't want to be seen as impolite or weird, you should usually say hi when you get in a place or in a store or wherever. It's just a different tradition, a different culture. Another cultural thing is that when you're invited to somebody else's house for dinner, for lunch, or just to visit, you usually bring something. So another thing, the third thing that you should not do when you're in Italy is to go to somebody else's house empty-handed. So usually Italians bring a bottle of wine or maybe some sweet. For example, what happens is that if they're throwing a party, you ask him, should I bring plates or dishes or like plastic glasses, or maybe I can bring chips, or maybe I can bring soft drinks if there is a party. If there's a dinner, usually you ask, should I bring dessert? Should I bring wine? Should I bring some spirit? Should I bring maybe an appetizer? It's not very common, but sometimes it happens. Maybe people bring a salad over. And they can tell you, yes, of course, bring a dessert. That's gonna be fine. That's gonna be super cool. And then maybe you bring a gelato, a tiramisu, or a cake in general. Or they can say, no, we have everything covered. But usually, if you don't have this kind of conversation beforehand with somebody in Italy, you usually do not show empty-handed in the house. And even if they say, do not bring anything to eat because we have everything covered, you usually present yourself like, you usually go to somebody else's place, maybe with a plant or some flowers, or maybe like a little smart box or whatever. It's just a present, just a little present, just to reciprocate what they're doing for you, for the invitation, for the dinner, for the meal. Now, I'm not saying that in America they don't do that. Actually, the majority of people that I meet here, that I know here, that I invited in my place, they usually brought something, maybe a bottle of wine or maybe some dessert, a cake. But some others, they don't really care. And again, it's not being impolite, it's just tradition, it's just culture. So for the same reason, for the reason being cultural difference, if you don't want to be seen as impolite or maybe not caring in Italy, if you live there, if you're visiting, and you are invited to somebody else's place, well, you should not be there empty-handed. Just something very small, something very little. It's just a thought that counts, okay? It doesn't have to be something big, but you should not be there empty-handed. Another interesting thing that is different between the United States and Italy is the breakfast. So we know that American breakfast is with, eggs and bacon usually, or maybe something sweet, but really rarely. Usually it's meat and eggs. So like it's a proteic, like it's breakfast full of proteins. In Italy and in Europe in general, that's not the case. Usually the breakfast is a sweet breakfast. So the fourth thing that you should not do in Italy is expect eggs and bacon for breakfast. Many times I've seen people in Italy, my friends from America, for example, or from Canada, expecting eggs and bacon in an hotel for breakfast. I'm gonna have a huge breakfast, so I don't have to eat a lot for lunch. I'm gonna have some bacon, some Canadian bacon, some eggs, omelette or whatever. That doesn't happen usually in hotels. Well, there are international hotels that do it. Usually they do international breakfast where you can find either sweets or meat and bacon and eggs. But if you go only in European hotels or Italian hotels, maybe family-owned and smaller hotels, they don't give you such a choice. The choice usually is between sweets, so maybe pieces of cakes, milk and cereal, or simply a cornetto, so a croissant. That's all. Like, you don't have to expect eggs and bacon, or in general an American breakfast, because Italian breakfast is so much different, is so much lighter. Well, you might say, like, eating a lot of cakes and stuff like that for breakfast isn't light. Yes, I know, but we're talking about hotels. Usually inside my place, at my place, I used to eat breakfast with milk and cereal, or sometimes just skip it, maybe one very fast fruit like an apple or a pear or something like this. But I'm talking about the hotels in general. Like, Italian hotels don't serve you eggs and bacon. Maybe international hotel might, but only in big cities. And generally speaking, in Italy, that's not really common. So do not expect eggs and bacon or American breakfast for breakfast in Italy. The fifth and last thing that you should not do in Italy for this episode is something really interesting. And it is, do not abuse alcohol like wine in Italy. And you might tell me, but Giovanni, you shouldn't abuse alcohol in general. And I know that, I agree. But everybody that I had from the United States, every friend that I had from the United States, maybe university when they 20 years old, so they cannot drink in America, they come to Italy, they can drink in Italy because there is no minimum, legal age to drink in Italy. What they do is to buy expensive bottles of wine and get drunk with it. Get drunk with this bottle of wine. These expensive and really precious and really cool bottles of wine. You don't do that in Italy. Generally speaking, people do not abuse alcohol so much in Italy. Of course they do sometimes, but not like in America, because it's not seen like something cool or something like rebel style like in America, because in America you can drink only when you are 21 years or older. In Italy you can drink whenever. I have memories of my grandpa pouring me wine when I was probably 4 or 5, and there was no problem. If you go in a store you can buy alcohol, that's not a problem. That doesn't mean that all the Italians are drunk. Actually quite the opposite. I see a lot of people getting drunk really easily in the United States, whereas in Italy people drink, of course, they get tipsy, they might even get drunk, but they don't go out with the clear intent of abusing alcohol, which is weird. It's really weird. Because you might say, well, it's more common in Italy to be able to buy wine or alcohol, so maybe people drink more. They do, but they develop a strength and a resistance to it, first of all. But second of all, culturally speaking, we don't abuse like something good like wine. Wine is something that accompanies every meal of the day, especially dinner, maybe when the whole family is gathered at the table. Maybe we go out and get drinks with our friends, but we do not abuse them just to be rebel, just to show. I don't go out Saturday night with my friends in Italy and I say, today I have to get drunk, I want to get drunk with long drinks. That might happen. Some people being in a very bad spot, in a very bad situation, that might happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in Italy, but it's not very common as it is in America. So my friends from university, when I was 20 years old, they were 20 years old or 19 years old. They were coming from the United States and they would call me, hey Giovanni, I got this really good bottle of Brunello di Montalcino, we're gonna get drunk with it. And me and my friends were like, what? You're gonna get drunk with a Brunello di Montalcino? That's a bottle of wine that costs a lot of money. Why would you do that? Yeah, because I can drink finally here. In America, I cannot drink, and I cannot buy such a good bottle of wine. In Italy, it's completely different. Like if you say something like this, we're gonna get drunk over an expensive bottle of wine, or maybe you're gonna get out with our families and get soft drinks and long drinks. I should say something. Long drinks and cocktails, that's what I meant. We're gonna get drunk, it's gonna be so fun. No, usually or rarely, let's say rarely, people want to get drunk with wine or with long drinks in Italy. Maybe they do it, maybe they just hang out on Saturday night and they have a drink with somebody. That's all. They don't want to get drunk. This is very different because in America, the way I see it is that having a minimum required age to be able to buy, to purchase, and to consume alcohol makes alcohol like a forbidden fruit. So like if you want to be rebel, if you're in a bad situation, you want to drink your soul out. You want to drink so much, you want to show everybody that you are feeling bad, okay? Or maybe you want to show everybody that you want to feel cool, and so you're gonna have fun for the whole night. In Italy, of course, it can happen to some people, but usually people enjoy just drinks with friends. In fact, like you drink in the streets. The city where I come from, Saturday night and Friday night, you just go around the historical center and you just enjoy drinks with your family or with your friends without necessarily getting drunk, that's all. So this is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I remind you to subscribe to the channel, help me growing this channel faster so that I can make more contents for you guys. Goodbye for now.